All right, I think everything's working fine now.
Awesome.
Okay, so, all right, so Myfawny. I don't understand. I still don't understand how to pronounce your name. Right?
Myfawny?
Myfawny.
Yeah,
okay.
It's okay. It can take some time.
Why do you come to Waffle House?
So I come here for the experience where you can sit up on the counter and you can meet people from all walks of life. It's this what you see is what you get type of atmosphere, whereas if you go to somewhere like Starbucks, they're trying to sell you this experience of like these, I don't know, precocious beings that came from like the most fertile soil from the Amazon. You know what I'm talking about? But here, like, it's just like, here's your eggs, here's your waffle, here's some butter and syrup. And I don't know, I like that. I like, there's just this, like, hometown familiarity. They're pretty consistent, so no matter where you go, you can expect the same experience. And I don't know, for me, like, everyone is just so efficient at what they're doing that it's almost like whenever you go to like Makoto's or Kobe's, where there's, you know, almost like a dinner show, watching everyone and how well they do their job is almost like a breakfast show for me. I find it fascinating. And again, it is its own like almost like a professional community. There's its own language. There's this own way where everyone communicates with each other, and then there's all this almost code switching where they're talking to their employees, but then there's such a diverse range of people that come in here, whether it's like, the 70-year-old couple that comes in for breakfast on Sundays versus like 3 a.m. and the drunk college student. Like, everyone is welcome, and, no matter if you're wanting breakfast or if you're wanting to sober up, there is a seat for you at the Waffle House.
What are some of you started talking about some consistencies that you notice across your visits. What are some additional consistencies, and maybe even some that particularly bring you back?
Let's see. I guess some of it would be just the layout of the menu. The menu is the same no matter where you go. The yellow sign, the tiled walls, even the way that they call out orders. And I'll even come in usually, and this is for me working at Waffle House, but I know like right around 7, that's when the shift switch starts. Usually it's 7 a.m. You watch all of that happen, and no matter what Waffle House you're at, it always happens around then. And then just even, and I don't know if this is consistent around all Waffle Houses, but like just the way that they set up their orders. Like, I've seen some cooks where they'll take like a piece of they'll take like a piece of hash brown or take something to kind of show like what needs to go where, so they don't have to continually look at tickets. They know where it goes on the plate. And also just even the tea, like, it's not the best tasting tea. It really isn't. But I'm so used to that tea taste that I get here that I just accept it, right? And it's nothing, you don't come here for the tea, right? You come for the waffles, and the consistency too is in the smell of the food. Like, there's something so like comforting about the smell of a waffle. I mean, it really is. It's just one of those like, it's morning time, you're starting your day, and it's like you get a little hug in the morning from the smell of the waffle.
Oh, it's cute. How familiar are you with the menu?
Pretty familiar to the point where on most, I don't know if it's consistent, but I'm pretty sure that they've taken off the option of steak and eggs on the menu, and they have replaced them with like more of the steak and egg bowl or the steak bowls with the hash browns and stuff. So as someone who orders that every now and then, I'm like, what? Where is the steak and eggs? Like,
I'm pretty sure that you can
still order it. Yeah. You can.
I don't know if you can still get the sirloin. I'm almost certain that you can still get the T-bone.
Oh, really? Interesting.
So a lot of what they did was they just rearranged the menu to highlight different things.
I'm very unfamiliar with the lunch menu. I just instinctively, every time I come here, I get breakfast, and I'm almost always, it's either two things. It's either a waffle with bacon, or it's sometimes like the chicken bowl with hash browns, or if they have it, the steak and eggs with some toast. So yeah, I'm pretty consistent with my Waffle House orders.
Do you recognize the language when the server is calling your order out to the cook?
Yeah, some of it. I know that I can't remember it because it's been probably about 15 years since I've worked at a Waffle House, but I know there's almost like an announcement that they say before they call out the order, and then like if you're ordering hash browns, it's like scattered or what is it? Smothered, covered. Yeah, there's like a language.
Smothered, covered, capped.
Sauteed. Yeah, thank you. See, it's like a community here.
And I can't even. That worked here that like a little bit more recently, and now I can't even think of it.
But isn't there too like they'll tell you like onto or like saying how many orders of what?
So there's like if you say onto, that's to make two of whatever you just said, and that first thing, that call out you were talking about, is when you tell them what meats to pull. I think. So you do the pull, and then the drop, and then the mark, and the pull. The pull does sound like sort of a call to attention.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Y'all ready? Yeah, we're ready. Pull to whatever. Yeah. All right. And then what did you?
It's almost like you're arming for battle, right?
Yeah.
You're pulling your meats.
Oh yeah. So onto means that you're ordering two of whatever you just said. And then, like, out like two is to make sure that they don't put it all in the same plate. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I don't know.
But yeah, there's
smothered, covered, capped. What are the others? What are the other hash browns? What's the other hash brown lingo?
Smothered, covered, capped, chunk, top, and there is what is gravy? Peppered. Hey, what's gravy? When you say what gravy, what is the term for that gravy?
Okay, so help us out.
Oh, country.
So
yeah.
If I was going to order...
What is gravy in general? I'm like,
well,
okay, so help us out. If I was going to order the steak and eggs with a side of hash browns and a waffle, how would you call that out to your cook?
So like from the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay, so you pull one steak, how do you cook it? So one sirloin, I'll be like pull one sirloin, medium well, drop one hash brown, mark, steak and eggs.
Yeah.
Steak and eggs, scrambled. You don't call gravy.
Yeah.
Because gravy, the server's giving it themselves, so the cook doesn't feel good.
But you even have like a special way in which you write your tickets too, right?
Yeah. So like.
Sorry, we're like doing it's like Inception.
Oh yeah. Okay. So this is his ticket, right?
Okay.
So he got a cheesesteak on Texas toast. So you gotta write Texas. It's basically the way you write it is the way you're gonna call it. So whenever you call it, you're gonna mark Texas bacon, cheesesteak melt, and then this is my plate, smothered cup.
Okay. Do you need a photo of that? Photographic evidence?
I mean,
Go ahead.
sure. Hold on.
Take a little photo.
It's gonna be a. Hold on. Wait a minute. Let me get you
Sorry,
down
I'm
in
really shaky.
I'm shaky too. It's
I
all
have a
right.
lot of anxiety. I'm sorry. Alright, yeah. But
I'm a bit of an extrovert, as you can tell, so.
a lot of people are really surprised by the things, but like we have a whole system here.
Oh, yeah, no, and
Yeah, it's
also
super
where you were,
efficient, yeah.
like, I even, like, noticed, like, where they put their eggs, right? Yeah.
Everything and the way that everything is like set up to basically make things easier, make things faster. So like, say if you put the eggs all the way in the cooler, you know, like you only have the eggs out for a certain amount of time. So you know you've also got to follow sanitation rules and this and that. So you've got to follow through with all that. But I mean, if everything's where it should be, then you know you get everything out pretty quick.
Yeah.
You get like a meal out in like 3 minutes or less.
Oh, yeah, y'all are super fast. Like, that's one of the things, too, like, I'm a breakfast person. I love breakfast. Sometimes, like, you go to places and there's like a 30-minute wait. Damn, I just woke up. I'm really hungry.
Yeah.
And you come here and like y'all are popping people in and out. I love it. Love it.
Yeah, we'll have a wait out the door, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be about a 40-minute wait for your tin talk," and then like 15 minutes later, we've got 2 tables for that tin talk. You know, so.
On the weekends, we do have a wait at event. Because
Yeah.
there's like 2 people, and then there's like groups of 7 trying to get tables at once, and we can still hear open.
I like your jacket, by the way.
Thank you for that.
This is your body?
Yeah, it's a motorcycle.
What is that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a new body jacket.
I used to race motorcycles, but they're bikes.
So let's go ahead and hit the big one. If you don't mind. I'm down to about 14 minutes.
Can you will you do me a favor first and explain what is it Sonic rhetoric is or Sonic experience?
All I mean is your. I was about to say something just as abstract. Your oral experience. What you think about the rhetoric that you're hearing, right? And so what I'm thinking of in this context is that you're hearing not only the other customers talking, right, but you're also hearing the staff interact with each other. And you send out your order, right? And you know that there's a special code that goes into. You already talked to me about that, so you've already got some interest in that. But it's just that there are several different sort of languages going on at once,
right?
And you filter some of them out naturally, right? But so, what is your experience of that? And it may not be interesting. You know what I mean?
I don't know if this is where, because I'm still kind of processing maybe the definition. But I think there's almost like an intimacy in the rhetoric because it's so familiar. Isn't that weird? About Waffle House?
I like that though. Like, it's true for me though, and I've worked here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I felt that before, but I mean, you've worked here too though. So I mean, of course I get that.
Yeah, but I didn't even work here that long. But and again, it was a long time ago. But even just as a customer perspective. Right, because everything is so consistent. Like there's almost a comfort, and to the point where I mean, you don't know anyone here, but like we're having conversations. You know, we're asking other people's opinions, getting to know them. I mean, it just feels like almost more intimate than like going into a bar, right? Because like sometimes with bars, there's loud music, or possibly like you don't know what's going on with the other person, but like at least
you
there's
know
a
that
booth.
if something does happen, it's like you can blame it on the alcohol, right? You know what I mean? But what you're talking about happened, like in the middle of the interview, right?
Yeah,
so it was demonstrated.
Exactly. Yeah, there definitely is this comfort to it. Whereas, like, and I'm not trying to shit on Starbucks, but I'm really not. But you know, there's this pretentiousness about it where even if you're by yourself, you have to pretend like you're busy. You know, like, oh, I'm doing, you know, important.
Everybody watch me write my novel. Thank you.
This is my script that's coming out.
I want to put milk in it anyway.
Getting published tomorrow. Everybody has their their earbuds in, and it's like this, like, don't talk to me while I, drink my $7 nasty ass coffee. Whereas here, even when it's loud, there's just this accepted rhetoric that you're able to talk to other people, and there's not this hesitation in the rhetoric or your conversation, because a lot of times, even when it's busy, there just isn't enough time, right? You know that your server's busy. You don't want to like waste your time. You're just like, can I have this? And it comes to you as quickly as possible. And then again about the signs, right? I mean, there's just something comforting again about the layout where you know where. I mean, I don't even work here anymore, but I know where most of the things are stored. Like, their condiments and all of this over here.
It actually upsets me when things aren't in the place.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking more of when I would go to another store and like that's interesting. I don't bowls being up there, but I'm thinking more when I would go to another store and have to work there for a day, and they've got that one thing that's in a different place, and it's just no, it sets everything off because you learn to be efficient in the atmosphere that you were working in.
Right, and the thing also is that
you might have something to say.
Did
you have something to say?
I was gonna say that like over back home, both of the orange juice machines are right there.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure the cups are like over there. So
yeah, you notice it though. You know what I mean? Like it's so consistent that you notice it. But I mean, an open kitchen format isn't that common.
But there's also this comfort of it always being open, right? So, like, for some people, like, if they have some type of life issue, they can go to, like, a family member or a trusted friend, like, hopefully, and it's someone that you can depend on. And that's the way it is with Waffle House, to the point where whenever the pandemic first began, and they were shutting down Waffle Houses, like, people were like, oh, this is a sign of the times. Like, shit's going down if the Waffle House is not open, right? I mean, I remember they made this announcement, and, like, it started spreading like wildfire on Facebook, and they're like, the health of the country, like, and the health of the, the dire situation that we're in, if Waffle House has to close. So, I think that there is a comfort in the consistency of the rhetoric, and again, like, just in the ability of your servers to be able to, like, talk to anyone that comes in. I think the consistency in the written language, right? I think that's why the menu it doesn't change very often. Because people can know what they want to order, and there isn't like these very long descriptions to point at the picture. So it's this, whether it's a graphic image, written language, or talking to the server, it's in like this multimodal way where anybody can understand it.
All right. Talk to me about the multimodality. But also, I'm fascinated with this notion of a dimension of intimacy at the Waffle House.
Maybe that's not the right. Well, I don't know. But hit the
multimodal thing.
Okay, so
Multimodality. Myfawny.
okay, so even look right here on our napkin holder, we have a digital menu. So that's another way in which the Waffle House can communicate with us as far as our order. There's other signs, signs and signifiers where if your glass is less than half full, you're probably going to get refills. Your server is going to recognize that you need a refill on your beverage, and then multimodality of not only the menu, and again the many different ways in which you can your brain can perceive what is being given to you as far as menu options. There's pictures, there's big bolded titles, and then there's a short description. And
there is kind of a language of layout that's
yeah,
going on there. But yeah, and also the text and the images. And you were talking about what happens when it gets over to the cook's side, right?
right.
So
And then there's also just the way that then the next step is after your server takes your order, right? Then they will write it in another language in which the server can take your order to where any other server who rings you up will know exactly what you're ordering. There's a code there. And then yet there's another code once your server brings it over to the cook, where they call it out in like pull 2 for the meats, as our server said.
regimented.
And then not only that, but then there are other ways in which the cook translates that order, where for their own sake, instead of like having to constantly look at the tickets, then they create this own multimodal language where they're putting like, butter to signify that they need toast there. And I could be wrong about what actually means what,
Right.
but like a little bit of a hash brown to know that this order has hash browns. And they'll even like put some of the lettuce or something for the sandwich. I mean, it's very regimented, but that's the reason why they are able to be so efficient, right? Is because the language doesn't change. Whereas, like with our own, English language, it's changing every day and evolving. But here, there is something, and I guess which helps form that intimacy, because it's not complicated, right? Once you get down the rhythm of everything, it's understandable, and the customers are hearing it. They're used to hearing these calls. They're used to the way in which all of this process happens, and because it's consistent across this whole network of restaurants, it's this whole multimodal like ecosystem within itself, right?
Do you find it different now that? Do you find your experience of that different now that having worked there as opposed to having worked here as opposed to before you worked here? Because before you worked here, you wouldn't have understood as much of the language, right, or as many different codes. And so it's like, I'm trying to remember what that was like for myself, and it's, there's a lot going on, but you filter some of that out, I think.
Right. So, I mean, there definitely is, whenever maybe your first experience when you come in here, there's like this defamiliarization, right? Whenever you hear something strange or exotic. Well, exotic with the Waffle House. But yeah, I mean, but I think even though maybe the first time you hear it, it's new, because it works so well, you accept it. And there's an acceptance of it. Maybe by even the first time that you leave, you accept it because it works so well, it's so efficient. and then as you come more and more, again, that's the trust that the system works because you're gonna get your food, and most of the time it's gonna be accurate and fast. So yeah.
It's really surprising to me, like if I get service that breaks the norm. Right? It's really odd to me because I was coming here almost every day. I actually cut down recently to save some money. Yeah, it always surprises me. And I'll be honest with you, I don't want to sound like a dick, but it irritates me because I come here all the time. Like I feel like maybe in some way part of the family.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're gonna not talk to me because I'm part of the family? I mean, like, does that make it better to favor like all the new customers coming in? Like if it's busy or something like that. I think sometimes as a regular, you kind of get put on the back burner.
Oh, I do usually frequent a Waffle House in my area every Saturday, but like one time we did go to somewhere new, and like, I don't expect a lot of the service, like, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, I just expect it to be, like very basic. Like I'm not waiting to hear the specials and getting appetizers.
I'm talking about like waiting for like 7-8 minutes.
Yeah, but yeah, there was this one server, and it was just like, I don't know, she seemed to have trouble understanding me, and like things kept getting confused as far as like what I ordered, and again, I'm pretty consistent. It's pretty simple order, like unsweet tea, bacon, and a waffle, and it's like, what is this Twilight Zone that I'm in? Yeah. Like, and it was unnerving for me for it not to be working out.
You don't know what to do.
Oh my God! Or even like you do end up getting some type of ownership, almost like you said, where there was this. I was going in for breakfast one morning, and there was like this acquaintance that, like, as soon as I saw them, I'm like, oh God, like, why are, this is gonna, like, just mess up my breakfast. I didn't even talk to them, and I, like, kind of just made my way to the booth, hoping that they wouldn't recognize me because I looked different than when I did. But it bothered me that they were in, like...
Run into one of your exes or something?
No, it was one of my dad's friends. I don't know. We're very different people, and breakfast is my happy time. It's how I start my day. And again, like, you get some ownership. And so, like, whenever someone that, I guess, I don't know, it was like, what are you doing in my house? Like, what are you doing in my Waffle House? I don't know. It was unnerving to me, again. Like, I don't know, like you said,
well, I mean,
with your expectation of, and when you do come here every day, like,
I can understand the unnerving. The description of it is unnerving because, like, for me, one of the reasons why I like to come here is I know I can get like however many cups of coffee in before I have to turn around and go to the school. And if that's thrown off, like, I didn't realize it until it happened. It's like, my coffee time, and then I'm thinking, all right, so I've got one that I can drink now, and then maybe another if I can get this person to come back, and then I've got my large to go that I'm like, budgeting it all in my head.
See, for you, it might even be a different level of communication, which I'm just assuming. I'm not trying to place my thoughts like onto your own experience, but like, do you come here so often that you, like, for a moment have to adjust if it's like a new server that you haven't met before?
Yeah. I usually prefer to stick with whatever servers I like dealing with. It's just normally like a couple of people.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, I already know, like, there's one server here who I don't want to be my server. I've never wanted them to be my server.
Yeah. So there's like even like how else to say this, but like there's even like a multimodality, or maybe like some type of I don't know, like an aesthetic of the servers where like you get used to seeing this certain like
well, yeah.
the aesthetic of people that work here, like I guess even like their consistency in being here is a part of the experience. It's a part of the intimacy where if you get somebody new, you're like, what the fuck are you doing in my house? Like,
there's one article that comments on that. It's talking about the server who comes around and calls you darling.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because it explores that area that you wouldn't expect it to. Or it says, well, she coming on to me?
Oh yeah.
And then it says, well, of course she's not. But what can we say about feigned romanticism? And I don't mean poetry romanticism. I mean, ABC romanticism, right?
Okay.
That's created when you're there that you obviously, don't act on.
So I will tell you, and this is yet another breakfast place, not Waffle House, but it's one near my house, called Mountain View Barbecue that I used to frequent, like when everything was online, and I could just go there and get my breakfast and whatnot. One of the servers left to go to a different state, and she was almost there like every day of the week, maybe 5 or 6 days of the week, almost every day they were open. And when she left, like it caused such a disturbance in the experience. Not, kind of even for me too, because she was the one I'd always hoped that I would get. Because she, even before I ordered, she'd bring my tea, and I think that's one thing. Like if you get a server that knows you pretty well, you don't even have. There's that language, right? Like you don't even have to tell them what you want.
Yeah, they know what you want. A lot of times they'll bring you your drink even if they're not serving.
They associate you with these orders, and like people were worried something had happened to her, and like I swear to you, like their tenant, or the people that frequented in that restaurant dropped for a while just because like they weren't used to having someone new. And it was, I don't know, it wasn't a comfort for them anymore.
Well, I mean, I went back to the one in Anderson recently, and several of the servers weren't there anymore either, and it was a disappointing experience. So, I get it; it's a real reaction, and it has. I mean, what happens is, and this is expectation theory, right? Yeah. What happens is you keep setting yourself up for the same experience over and over and over, and you get used to some of the repetition. You know what I mean? And when that pattern is interrupted, right, it's upsetting, right? And then once you realize it's not like an actual dangerous situation, like a normal fight, flight, or freeze kind of situation, then your brain is like, okay, so I can take this negatively, I can take it neutral, I can say it's neutral, I can say it's positive, and you make all these other associations. Right?
I will say, and I don't know if you feel this way, but I would be more accepting of some type of drama happening with customers, like, maybe someone drinking too much and now they're getting loud and being disruptive, or like, a customer just mouthing off or whatever. I would be more accepting of like that disruption than I would almost with a disruption in the flow of the order. Isn't that strange? Like I would feel more.
You mean you'd be more surprised, or do you think, or is it you'd be more angry at it?
I'd be angry,
or not,
but
maybe
I would just
irritated.
I would just be more. I would just be more anxious at the uncertainty, where like there could be a possible threat, like some brawl, like drunken brawl, could like bump into me, and I could get physically hurt. But I would be more accepting of like that expectation than I would if like something goes wrong back here. Isn't that strange?
That's weird.
It's weird.
Yeah.
But how do you feel?
I think I would have to put that theory to the test.
Oh, sorry.
But you know, if you asked me abstractly, you know, about whether I would think that kind of thing would happen here, you know, I wouldn't be that surprised. I've seen all kinds of YouTube videos about it. Of course, it worries me because I'd never want to be in a Waffle House when something like that was happening, you know. But it has occurred to me, you know, that I used to work in an IHOP, and I've also worked at Waffle House. And shit gets crazy in both.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're both the place to go after the concert's over, whatever the local event is. But I'd be more surprised to see a fight break out at an IHOP than I would at a Waffle House. You know what I mean? Like, how do you feel about that?
I don't know. Like, so usually when I go to like an IHOP, I don't know. I have I usually go in the morning, so I have a higher expectation. It's strange.
So think of IHOP on third shift.
Yeah. Well,
we're not talking Sunday morning IHOP.
There was a time that I went, but like it was usually like, oh my God, me and a bunch of like theater kids back before I worked professionally that would like only order like, you know, coffee, but stay there for hours and hours and hours and like not tip the servers like hardly anything. I was not one of those, but there were many of those. And
yeah, so, I remember.
Yeah.